The creation in the lab wasn't what they expected. The lab was quiet, too quiet. Cold white lights hummed above steel walls. Rows of machines blinked slowly, watching. Inside a tall glass tube filled with blue liquid, something floated. A shape. A body. They called him Model-6X. To the alien scientists of the Varn Dominion. He was their greatest project. He was not born. He was built. Muscles engineered for war. Eyes made to track any target. Skin stronger than steel. No pain. No fear. No doubt. He was perfect. Dr. Yelna, the lead geneticist, stood with her arms crossed. Her green skin shimmered under the lab lights. "Today," she said, "we give life to the galaxy's most perfect soldier." Her team nodded. Engineers, scientists, guards all waited. With a soft hiss, the glass chamber opened. The liquid drained. The figure inside slowly stepped forward. Tall, silent, barefoot. His body looked alien, but also strangely human. Skin pale. Eyes closed. Wires still clung to his arms and spine. "Wake him," Yelna ordered. A button was pressed. Suddenly, the figure's eyes snapped open. Cold gray eyes. He gasped. Then he stood still. Everyone in the lab froze. They expected a blank stare. A machine with no thoughts. But what they saw was something else. The figure looked around slowly, his gaze calm, focused. Then he opened his mouth and asked, "Where am I?" The room went silent. One scientist dropped his datapad. Did he just speak? Someone whispered. He asked a question? Another said, "No command was given," Yelna snapped. He should not speak without programming. But 6, yes, that was the name on his file. Continued to look at them. Not with the eyes of a weapon, but with the eyes of someone awake. "I know this place," he said softly. "No, not this place exactly. But I remember something." The technicians checked their screens. Panic spread. "He's not reading like the others," one said. "Brain activity is too high. Emotion centers are active." Yelna stepped forward. 6, state your designation." "I don't know," he said, "but I feel like I don't belong here." The guards reached for their weapons. "Stand down," Yelna warned. "We observe, not destroy." She turned to a young technician named Rel, who had been monitoring 6's vitals. "Scan his DNA again. Full sequence." Rel hesitated. "We already confirmed his structure. He's engineered built from Varn and Arcadian genetics. Perfect balance." "Scan it again," Yelna repeated, her voice sharp. Rel obeyed. A few seconds passed. Then she went pale. That's not possible." Yelna grabbed the datapad from her hands and stared at the screen. The results were clear. 99.9% match. "Human DNA," Yelna whispered. "No, this cannot be." "We deleted all traces of Earth from the project," said a technician. "Humans were extinct centuries ago. Their DNA was banned. Then how did it get into him?" Someone else asked. Nobody had an answer. Meanwhile, 6 sat calmly on the edge of a table. His fingers touched the metal surface, exploring. I remember fire," he said softly. "A great war. And falling stars. Then nothing." Rel couldn't help herself. She stepped closer. "Do you know what Earth is?" 6 looked up. His gray eyes locked with hers. "I don't know what Earth is," he said. "But when I hear the word, it hurts, like I lost something." Yelna turned toward her team. "He's not just a mistake. He's a threat. Prepare the memory wipe." 6 stood up. "What are you doing?" "You don't need to know," Yelna said coldly. "We will reset your mind. Your purpose is war, not thought." But then 6 moved fast, too fast. He stepped back, avoiding the guard's grasp. His hands didn't strike. His body was calm. But his voice was clear. I don't want to forget. I want to remember. Rel stepped in front of the guards. Wait, he hasn't hurt anyone. He's confused. He's a weapon. Yelna shouted. No, Rel said. He's something more. In the silence that followed, a strange sound echoed from Six's mouth. He spoke a sentence. In perfect English. You tried to make me a weapon, but something inside me remembers. Peace. Yelna's face turned white. The entire room stood frozen. 6 slowly sat down again. I'm not what you think I am, he said. And I need to find out who I really am. The lab went dark for a moment. Alarms stayed silent, but the tension screamed in the air. Six was no longer just a subject. He had become a question no one could answer. A machine with memories. A soldier who remembered a home that no longer existed. And worst of all, he spoke like a human. Rel couldn't sleep that night. She kept thinking about his voice. The way he said peace, not like a machine, but like someone who missed it. Someone who had seen war and wanted something more. In the research dome's quiet sidewing, she accessed the Forbidden's records. The ones from long ago. The ones that mentioned Earth. Most of it was gone, deleted by order of the Varn Dominion. But fragments remained. Species, human, status, extinct. Origin, Earth system, danger level, unpredictable. Primary traits, hope, aggression, compassion. That last word stuck in her mind. Compassion. Meanwhile, in his cell, Six sat alone. The walls were white, the floor cold. There was no bed, no chair, just cameras watching him from every angle. But he didn't pace. He didn't shout. He whispered. Green trees, blue skies. Mother's voice. Flashes of memory kept coming. A woman smiling. Rain falling. A war. Fire. Running, falling, silence. None of it made sense. He held his head, confused. Why? Do I feel like I've lived before? He asked the empty room. Then the wall hissed open. Rel stepped in quietly. Her hands were shaking. I'm not allowed to be here, she whispered. But I had to talk to you. Six looked up. You're not afraid? I should be, she said. But I think you're not what they say. He tilted his head. What do they say? That you're a failed weapon. That you're broken. Six looked down at his hands. Then why do I feel more than what they made me? Rel sat beside him. You spoke a language none of us taught you, she said. It's called English. It belonged to the humans. But we thought all of them were gone. I know that. Language, Six said softly. I don't know how, but it feels like home. Rel took out a small device. It held a song, an ancient human melody recovered from the archives. She played it. Soft piano. Six's eyes widened. His body froze. His lips moved slowly, almost as if remembering something sacred. He began to hum along. A single tear fell from his eye. Suddenly, the walls blared red. Emergency lockdown. Unauthorized contact. The AI voice echoed, cold and robotic. Rel jumped to her feet. No. They'll erase your memory if they find out. Six stood calmly. Let them come, he said. But before they erase me, I want to ask just one question. What? He stepped closer. His eyes burned not with rage, but with awakening. What happened to Earth? Cut to the control room. Dr. Yelna slammed her hand on the table. Rel broke protocol. She spoke to it. No, him. Now he's remembering more. The guards waited for the kill order, but Yelna hesitated, because deep down, she feared the truth. Not that Six was a threat, but that he was a sign. A sign that humans were not extinct. A sign that Earth may still live. A sign that the greatest empire in the galaxy had just woken something it couldn't control. As the guards moved toward the cell, Six stood tall. He looked directly into the camera and said, in perfect English, "If you fear what I am, then maybe it's because I remind you of something you can never become." A guard stormed the hallway. Heavy boots slammed against the metal floor. Orders echoed through the comms. Capture Model 6X. Use stun rounds only. Memory wipe must begin within the hour. But inside the cell, Six wasn't running. He was thinking about the music, the memories, the word Earth, the warmth of that old song, and the look in Rel's eyes. She hadn't treated him like a tool. She treated him like a person. Rel was being dragged away. 2 security drones floated beside her. One of them scanned her badge, flashing red. Violation. Level 7. Unauthorized subject interaction. She shouted, "You don't understand. He's not dangerous." But the drones didn't listen. They were machines cold and blind, just like the Empire that created Six. Inside his cell, Six knelt on the ground. His hands were locked. Restraints glowed blue across his wrists. But his mind wasn't trapped. It was waking up. Why do I feel pain? Why do I remember water and sky? Why did I hum that song like I've known it forever? He looked down at the metal floor. And then something happened. He cried. One tear. One. Drop. The camera in the corner recorded everything. Aliens across the station watched in disbelief. He's crying. One technician whispered, "Why would a weapon cry?" Said another. And deep inside the control room, Yelna just stared at the screen. "This is wrong," she said. "Weapons don't mourn." At that moment, the lights flickered. Power surge. Security alert. Cell 7 breach. Yelna stood. Up. What? A nearby screen showed it all. The restraints on Six's wrists had melted off. He wasn't breaking them with force. They were disintegrating. Not by strength, by something deeper. His body was changing. Alien guards rushed toward his cell, but the door had already opened. Six was walking down the hallway. Slow, calm, alive. Rel was being pushed into an interrogation room. When the lights exploded above her. Sparks flew. And then, boom! The door behind her burst open. Smoke filled the room. The guards turned around, weapons raised, but they didn't shoot. They froze. It was Six. No weapons. No armor. Just those same gray eyes glowing with a quiet fire. "I'm not here to kill," he said. "I'm here to remember." Rel stared at him. "How did you find me?" "I heard your voice," he said, "in my mind. It brought me back." Together, they ran through the lower corridors of the station. Rel led him through hidden paths, old air vents, forgotten tunnels. She had studied this place for years. But now, for the first time, she was running with someone. Not from them. "Are you helping me?" Six asked. Rel glanced at him. "Because I think you are meant to feel, to think, to care. Not just fight." "But I was built," he said. "No," she replied softly. "You were awakened." They hid in an old maintenance bay. It hadn't been used in decades. Dust filled the air. But inside, there was something. Rel had been working on a small old escape pod from the pre-war era. She wiped the glass and activated the console. Six looked around. There were symbols here. He recognized Earth writing. He touched one of the screens, and it lit up with a message. To Project 6X. If you are reading this, then you survived. His hands shook. Rel stepped beside him. "What is it?" "I think," he whispered. "This was made by humans. Made for me." Suddenly, the screen changed. A hologram appeared. An old human general in battle armor. His voice echoed through the chamber. "We knew they'd Come for Earth. We knew we couldn't win the war. So we created one last hope. You. We gave you their DNA. We hid you among them. You're not just a soldier, 6. You're a seed. A memory. A chance. 6 fell to his knees. The memories returned. Not all but enough. He remembered his training, his people, his planet. I wasn't just built, he whispered. I was sent. The hologram faded, but its words stayed in 6's mind like fire. You are not their weapon. You are Earth's last seed. He stood slowly. The old pod around him was shaking from the inside, as if it felt alive again. Human tech, mixed with alien parts, forgotten, hidden dot, but now it had been found. By the one it was waiting for. Rel looked at him with wide eyes. That message, it proves everything. Yes, 6 said, voice steady. They didn't. Build me. Earth sent me. To survive. He touched the pod one last time. To remember. Far above the old bay, the Dominion security systems went into full lockdown. Dr. Yelna stood before the high command. Her face was pale. He escaped. Memory wipe. And he accessed the old human archive, she said. One of the High Council leaders slammed the table. You told us this project was clean, that no Earth code survived. Yelna stayed silent. Another voice growled. This is not a machine anymore. This is a living human hybrid in Varn territory. They issued the command, terminate him, immediately. Back in the maintenance tunnels, 6 and Rel heard the warning sirens. Security level. Omega, lethal force authorized. They'll kill you now, Rel said, panic in her voice. No more holding back. 6 nodded. Let them try. He looked. Different now, his posture sharper, his mind clearer. Like he had found a reason to fight. Not because he was programmed, but because he had a purpose. The guards found them in Tunnel 7. 20 elite Varn soldiers, armored and armed. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. Model 6X. The commander said, You are ordered to surrender and prepare for destruction. 6 stepped forward. He didn't raise his hands. Instead, he said something that shocked them all. You trained me for war, but Earth trained me for truth. And then he moved. In 1 second. 6 vanished from sight. In 2 seconds. 3 guards were already down, disarmed, not dead. He fought like no alien had ever seen. Human speed, human chaos. Every move unpredictable. Every strike full of precision and emotion. Rel watched from behind cover. Her heart pounded. This wasn't just a fight. This was a message. The last guard fell. 6 stood in the center of the corridor, breathing steady, calm. He looked up at the nearest security camera and said, You called me your creation, but I was always theirs. Then he turned to Rel. We have to leave this station. She nodded. I know a way, but it's risky. 6 smiled slightly. Everything worth doing is? They reached the station's outer shell, an old docking. Platform sealed for decades. A rusty door blocked the exit. Rel entered a code, then forced the panel open. Beyond it, stars. A small transport ship floated nearby. Dusty, old, but enough to fly. We'll be tracked the moment we leave, she warned. I'm counting on it, 6 replied. As they entered the ship. A signal pulsed from deep within the station. The alien High Council had activated an ancient beacon. Not for their soldiers, but for the galaxy. A message went out to all systems. An ancient threat has awakened. The last human is alive. In the darkness of deep space, something heard the signal. Not all humans had vanished. Some had gone silent. Some had gone deep. And now they were listening again. The stars looked peaceful from the outside, but war was coming. 6 sat in the old ship's pilot seat, staring into the darkness of space. His body still ached from the fight. His thoughts were racing, but his purpose was clear. He was no longer hiding. Now he was hunted, and he didn't care. Rel sat beside him, working on the navigation console. Her fingers flew over the keys. The ship was slow, but she had managed to activate a stealth mode. It would hide their energy trail. For now. You know the whole galaxy will come after you now, right? She said softly. Six didn't answer. At first, then he looked at her. Let them. Rel blinked. Why? Six stared ahead, voice quiet but strong. Because they don't fear my power. They fear what I remember. In the Varn Empire's high chamber, holograms of panicked leaders filled the room. One shouted, "The ancient signal has been picked up by the core empire." Another barked, "The humans may still exist. They'll rise again if we don't erase him." Yelna stood silently. She had created six, at least she thought she had. Now, she realized the truth. They didn't make the perfect weapon. They woke up a forgotten spirit, the human spirit. Across the stars, strange things began to happen. Ships that had been quiet for centuries, powered back on old Earth satellites, long thought dead, suddenly came alive, responding to Six's signal. A whisper moved through space. Earth still lives. Pirates, soldiers, refugees, everyone heard. Some laughed. Others prayed, but a few remembered. Back on the ship, Six opened the side chamber. Inside was a sealed box something Rel had brought from the station. It had a warning label. Pre-Earth relic. Do not activate. Six placed his hand on it. The box opened. Inside was a folded piece of dark cloth, old and dusty, but still holding shape. A symbol rested on it. A blue earth, surrounded by stars. The forgotten emblem of humanity. Six held it in both hands. Rel stepped closer. What is that? Six looked at her. A memory, a promise. Then, without a word, he wrapped it around his arm like a band. Suddenly, alarms beeped on the console. Multiple ships inbound. Rel said, "They're fast. Varn military class." Six stood. It's time. Rel stared at him. Time for what? He walked to the center of the ship. Calm. Focused. To show them, he said, why they feared humans in the first place. The enemy ships appeared around them. Dark, sharp, full of deadly weapons. The Varn commander opened a channel. Surrender now, subject 6X, or be destroyed. Six stepped into the camera's view. His arm still held the earth band. His eyes were bright with something the Varn had forgotten how to understand. Conviction. I'm not 6X, he said clearly. I'm a human. I carry what you couldn't kill. And I'm not alone. Then he pressed a button on the pod's console. It sent out a beacon. But not to the Varn. To REL. To Earth. What was left of it. Far away, deep in an asteroid belt. A massive station powered up. Its name, Sol Refuge 09. Inside, human eyes opened. Old soldiers. Hidden for generations. And they heard the signal. He's alive. He remembers. He's calling us. The stars were no longer silent. Across the galaxy, old systems came online. Forgotten signals blinked. Deep within asteroid fields and broken moons, hidden bases received one clear message. The last human has awakened. Inside Sol Refuge 09, a massive space station buried in ice, a council of old warriors stood around a glowing screen. They wore black uniforms marked with Earth's ancient emblem. One man stepped forward. His voice shook with emotion. He made it. Another added, after all these years, the seed survived. They had waited in silence for generations, waiting for a signal, for hope. And now, it had come from a single hybrid soldier who refused to forget who he was. Back aboard the old ship, Six looked out at the enemy fleet. The Varn ships had surrounded him. Missiles were locked. Weapons aimed, but Six didn't move. He stood tall, calm, and proud. He had something more powerful than armor now. A purpose. Rel stood beside him. Her voice was tight with fear. "There's too many of them." "I know," Six said softly. "But sometimes one spark is enough." He placed his hand on the console and triggered the final beacon, one only humans could decode. Then something happened the Varn had never seen before. Ships began to drop out of warp dot 1 dot, then 5 dot, then 50. Of them, human designs dot old Earth battleships, long thought destroyed or forgotten. They were dusty. Some were damaged. But they flew with fire in their engines and rage in their hearts. The Varn fleet panicked. "Impossible. Humanity is extinct." Where did these ships come from? How are they armed? And above them, in the center of it all, stood Six Dot, no longer a weapon, no longer a lab subject. He was a beacon, the signal that woke a sleeping species. The battle didn't last long. The Varn had numbers, but the humans had something else. Memory, pain, hope, rage. They didn't fight like machines. They fought like people who had lost everything and just got a second chance. After the battle, Six stood in the ruins of the enemy's command ship. The last Varn general lay at his feet, broken and silent. "You were built by us," the general gasped. Six shook his head. "No, you only woke me up." He looked down at his own hands. Still part alien, still part unknown. But the part you couldn't control was the part that remembered Earth. In the final scene, Six walks into the heart of Soul Refuge 09. Human survivors gather around him. Some cry, some salute, some just stare. One child reaches out to touch the cloth around his arm, the symbol of Earth. Six kneels and smiles. "You don't have to be afraid anymore," he says gently. "Earth is no longer gone. It's alive. In all of us." The final